The Knicks lose to the Los Angeles Lakers 129-123 in overtime. Jalen Brunson is ridiculous. LeBron James is now fourth all-time in assists, and 89 points away from passing Kareem Abdul-Jabbar for the most scoring in NBA history. The Knicks had an awful final possession. Emmanuel Quickley played well. Quentin Grimes continues to struggle. Let's go ahead and jump into it. Welcome to Nothing But Knicks. Again, welcome to Nothing But Knicks. This is your host, Jeff Crewman. Unfortunately, the Knicks lost last night, 129-123 in overtime against the Lakers. Tough game. Honestly, the Lakers played very well. They're on a little bit of a hot streak right now shooting, and it felt like it was a little bit of an off night for us with the exception of really Brunson and IQ for the most part. A lot of exhaustion, it seemed like, down the stretch as far as going into overtime. Teams have been playing a lot of games, tight rotation of late, especially with Mitch going out. And the Lakers just shot really well. Sometimes you got to tip your cap a little bit. We certainly had opportunities. We'll talk a little bit about the last possession, which I think was a disaster and should have gone very differently. But let's go ahead and start off with some good news. The first one is Jalen Brunson was definitely the MVP of this game for the New York Knicks. Dropped 37 points, 6 assists, and I think more importantly was just putting his body on the line for charges, especially that big charge that he took against Anthony Davis. Coming down the stretch of the game in the fourth quarter that gave us a chance to tie that up and get to overtime in general. We talked about in the last episode, Jalen Brunson has just been such a difference maker for this team. We've been missing that true point guard who can not only facilitate, but can get his own shot besides, RJ and Randall. So just really exciting to see him continue to thrive like this. It felt a couple times in the fourth quarter like this game was over. I thought we were done, and he just kind of willed us back into it. And even in overtime, when things were getting a little bit dicey about halfway through overtime, Brunson just keeps us in the game. It's fantastic. Like I said last time, definitely winning us more games than losing, and at least he was the bright spot tonight on the roster. I think we got to tip the cap to the Lakers a little bit. They were playing really well and hit some very timely shots last night. I mean, LeBron has been chasing history. Obviously, a lot of eyes on him all the time, but particularly now. He had his 7th triple-double against the Knicks. I think it was like the 4th at MSG, which is just crazy. I know he's had a long career, but he just crushes the Knicks. There was that half-court shot at the end of the first half by Dennis Schroeder that he just chucked up and went from the Knicks having a 4-point lead going into the half down to a 1-point lead. Felt like a momentum changer there as well. Really disappointing that we couldn't have ended with a little bit more of a lead considering how well we were playing in the second quarter. And then once we got to overtime, the Lakers just went like 8 for 8, I think, to start. And we were 6 for 6 at the beginning. It was just high octane offense to begin overtime. But we just couldn't keep up with that pace. And honestly, when a team is shooting that well and making shots that are pretty well contested for the most part, you have to tip your cap and move on. It was really well played overtime by the Lakers. And again, for the Knicks in overtime, it really felt like we lost steam. Brunson and Randall over 40 minutes a game. I feel like everyone's just logging high 30s to 40 minutes that starts and gets significant minutes. Guys just seemed a little tired. Randall seemed a little bit slow on defense down the stretch. Obviously, guarding LeBron James is no easy task, but he definitely looked a step behind. And I think it affected his offense. Didn't look like he had his legs under him to shoot down the stretch of the game. Felt like the team in general just got very static in offense. We weren't winning, so you can't call it that prevent offense we were talking about in the last episode. But the ball seemed to really slow down as far as movement down the stretch. And if Brunson wasn't getting it, or that one really nice pass from Grimes to iHart, it felt like we weren't really generating any exciting offense. And for a second, we have to talk about the last possession before we got to overtime. We had about 4.5 seconds after Jalen Brunson took that charge. And Jalen Brunson inbounds the ball to Julius Randle, who is promptly double-teamed by LeBron James. And he dribbles kind of up to the side of the rim and puts up an ugly contested shot that doesn't even go anywhere close, doesn't even get it off in time, to give us a chance. You got to get that ball up. Very disappointing final possession. I don't know if he had enough time to really make another pass once he decided to kind of take it to the rim. I understand putting the ball in Jalen Brunson's hands to inbound, but you feel like he is the guy to make the right decision with 4.5 seconds left. He's the one who we want to get the ball in his hands to make a decision whether to shoot or pass. Randall has been our dude, and I'm not saying I don't feel comfortable with him taking the last shot, but it just feels like with that amount of time, you want to get the ball in Brunson's hands. He can either facilitate or make his way to the hoop, which it felt like the Lakers just could not stop him last night. Really disappointing last play. Would have really liked to have seen Randall get a shot off there, at least give us a chance, get it up there, see if one goes in like Schroeder did the first half. Honorable mention, Brunson definitely was the MVP of the game, but Emmanuel Quickley continues to just impress off the bench, going for 19 and 8 off the bench, playing really good defense, had that nice strip on Schroeder when he wasn't paying attention, and just continues to play really good ball. He was really controlling the point a lot of the time, really good facilitation, moving without the ball, great movement on defense, and just continues to be a shining light on this team and a really great piece off the bench, really the glue guy for that second unit. Unfortunately, another piece that has not been playing particularly well has been Quentin Grimes. It's not that he's not playing well overall, it's just the shots are really not falling. Felt like he had a lot of open threes yesterday, and we just couldn't seem to get them to fall down. Team in general shot really poorly from the three last night. We shot 20.6%. As a team, not very good, not going to win you a lot of ball games when you're shooting that poorly. I'm not too worried about Grimes. He continues to contribute through good hustle plays, good passing. That little no-look pass to iHeart on that drive that he did was absolutely fantastic and shows the kind of play he is capable of. Having said that, he's clearly going through a little bit of a shooting slump right now. Hopefully it's something he can get himself out of soon. I've got confidence. It's just been a little bit of a rough patch for the otherwise exciting Quentin Grimes, who is going to be a rising star at the All-Star break coming up. I think we have to give a shout out to Isaiah Hartenstein. Played a very solid game, a lot of minutes last night, really tough on the boards, 13 rebounds, and a lot of just like tip plays that kept the possessions alive. There was one sequence where the Knicks, I think, had like 4 shots in one possession. I think had 3 or 4 offensive rebounds. A lot of him either boxing out and creating room for Julius Randle or a guard to come in, or him tipping the ball up and back up to the top of the key and giving the guards an opportunity to recover the loose ball. Really just enjoyed to see the passion he was playing with. Got a couple nice short-range shots and dunks. Had that one little circus shot that he seemed to have lost control of in the middle of the air. But it was solid game for him. And while Mitchell Robinson is out, we're going to have to continue to see those kind of efforts out of Hartenstein. Glad to see he was able to do it. Tough when you're playing a guy like Anthony Davis. So happy to see that out of iHeart. Hopefully more to come from him. And that's it. Unfortunately, a losing episode today. Some good things to feel good about come from Brunson and Quickley. Hopefully we can get a day of rest at home before we get back at things on Thursday when we are hosting the Miami Heat. And this is a big matchup. The Heat are right now 2 games ahead of the Knicks for that 6th spot in the playoffs. And again, that 6th spot means you avoid that play-in tournament. So big games against Miami. It would be really nice to get that down to 1 game. And keep that matchup close as we're getting into the second half of the season. So that's a show. We'll be back again with a video after the game on Thursday. Until then, go Knicks, and we'll talk to you soon. Peace.